Hey, welcome to Innovative Life. This is Dave, and we're talking today about how do we empower our employees and really get them to be engaged and dynamic. When we start to think about it, us as leaders spend a lot of time talking about what's going on in our careers and what's going on at the organization, and we don't spend enough time listening. And that really hurts us when we're dealing with our employees and what's going on. We're not really seeing what they need and how it helps. But there's some roadblocks that really happen in the workplace that causes this. We need to understand that. We need to get there. And I'm going to share with you my tips on how you can empower your employees and get things done in a better way. It doesn't take magic. It only takes thinking a different way. If you like our videos, please like and subscribe below. This is David Innovative Life. And one thing we have to remember is our traditional work is, as leaders, we're putting people in positions that we hire them for. And we hire them for those positions because we needed them in our hierarchical structure. They need to do a specific role. And we understand the potential that that takes. But we need to think about where real growth happens and what's stopping us from having those employees engaged and excited. Sometimes we have employees that are frustrated, they don't know what to do, and they're stuck in whatever role they're in. But we have deadlines, we have projects, we have meetings, and those are stopping us from really moving things forward. And it's counterproductive for us to think about each person is in an imaginary box where they're stuck in that position and they can't move out of that position. When we focus on thinking that way, we're limiting our abilities as managers to get our employees to be more creative, more experimental, and help them to achieve. Because really our role as managers has to be not only overseeing tasks, but nurturing, engaging, and pushing our employees beyond their comfort zones. I had a leader who did this. She did it really well. She never told me what to do, but she always asked me leading questions. She would come back and say, "Dave, why did you approach it that way? Dave, how do you plan to get to this objective?" By asking me those questions, it had me revisit what I was trying to do and how I was trying to achieve it. If we want to shape our employees to be our future leaders, we have to start looking at ways we do it. I always think about that classic book, The 1 Minute Manager, that underscores this point time and time again, that employees must be developed. And they're developed by giving them goals. And what are those goals and how do they achieve it? You think it's straightforward, but it isn't. But we have to start breaking those imaginary boxes down and focus on what an employee needs. How do I do that? The first one I do is I listen to the employees. I want to take my time in my one-on-one meetings and sit there and focus on what are they saying. Are there key words like they're saying, like they want to do more? They're frustrated on this project. They're having issues here. Or they say that something excites them and it's outside of their role. It's okay. But knowing that will help me lay out a plan and a goal for starting to do it. I know I had an employee who wanted to experiment with augmented reality. I knew nothing about it. But they really felt that that was a passion they wanted to do. So I let them start understanding the technology, playing with a tablet, playing with their iPhone, and figuring it out. What it did, we ended up having to do a tabletop exercise with the campus because they were so excited by us laying out AR and how the buildings worked. It was an experiment, but it worked out well. You have to listen to where they can do stuff. And I found 10% of his time. It's not a lot, but 10% was able to make this whole thing work. If you start doing that, you're starting to listen to where your employees can add value to your organization. The next thing is placing the right people on the right projects. So many times we're looking at a person being a project manager, but really that project manager may have technical skills. If we allow them to have those technical skills and use them because it excites them on certain part of their project, yes, we may lose 10 or 15% of their time, but they're going to be excited and they're going to be able to set goals so that they can do both. We've seen this time and time again. When we place the right people on the right projects, it doesn't matter what role they're in currently, they're going to be successful because they find what's passionate for them. I've seen this so many times, and you're going to see it. The other thing we need to do, we need to take risks as leaders. So many times we're risk adverse because we're worried about our jobs or worried about where it's going to affect our careers. We have to throw that out. We're not here about me. You have to stop saying it's not about me as a leader. It's about the team. It's about our employees. How do we as leaders encourage and move them forward? We have to remember that this all happens because we have to break down those boundaries. I'm always about innovation and experimentation, and you know that from my channel, I do that a lot. So I always reference thinking about Albert Einstein, and yes, he created a light bulb, but how many times did he fail creating it? And how many members of his team were allowed to experiment as they do it? They weren't put in a specific box in a specific role. As you start figuring out what you want to do with your team, start figuring out where you want to go. I put a lot of this in my book in Leadership Takes Courage. And I've talked about team leadership, and I'm going to go over it more and more as I develop this channel. But I want you to think about what are those things that you can really do. In summary, the 3 things that I feel you can do is you can listen to your employees, place the right people on the right projects, and take risks. Taking risk will not only show to your management that you'll be successful, that anybody on your team can be successful. And when they're thinking about the next leader, they're going to reach out to you and grab one of your team members because they're going to be ready to handle any task that's thrown at them. This is David, Innovative Life. If you have any questions, please put in the comments below. And thanks so much for listening, and please subscribe.